You only have to do very few things right in your life, so long as you don't do too many things wrong. This is the core philosophy of Warren Buffett, one of the most legendary investors in history. His approach to investing is built on simplicity, discipline, and a deep understanding of the businesses in which he chooses to invest. But even Buffett, with all his wisdom and success, missed one of the greatest wealth-creating opportunities of the modern era: Microsoft. Warren Buffett first met Bill Gates in July of 1991. The meeting wasn't supposed to happen. Buffett, the legendary value investor from Omaha, had little interest in technology. Gates, the brilliant software mogul from Seattle, had even less interest in investing. But fate intervened. It was Mary Gates, Bill's mother, who insisted they talk during a charity gathering. Two titans from different worlds sitting across a table, each expecting very little. And yet, something clicked. Not over Windows or operating systems, not over spreadsheets or price-to-earning ratios, but over their shared obsession with business models and how the world really works. In that moment, a friendship was born, a deep intellectual bond that transcended industries. Buffett became not only close to Gates, but also to Gates' father. They vacationed together, played bridge for hours, read books, and debated ideas. They weren't just two of the richest men in the world. They were quite genuinely kindred spirits. But that closeness came with a cost. It blurred Buffett's fame objectivity, because no matter how clear the numbers or how compelling the moat, Microsoft was different. Microsoft was Bill's company, and Bill was family. The irony is that Buffett had the opportunity to invest in Microsoft from the very beginning. The company went public in 1986 at a price of $21 per share. By the year 2000, its stock had surged more than 9,000%. $1,000 invested at IPO would have turned into over $90,000 in less than 15 years. It was one of the greatest wealth creation machines in history. Buffett watched this unfold with a front row seat. He admired the brilliance. He respected the strategy. He saw the growing dominance of the Windows platform, but he never bought in. Not a single share. Not in 1986, not in 1990, not even after the company became the undisputed king of software, because that voice overruled even staggering returns staring him in the face. And in time, the missed opportunity turned into something else. Not just a lost fortune, but a quiet, haunting regret that never completely left him. Buffett has always been clear about these boundaries. He doesn't invest in technology companies, not because they're bad businesses, but because they evolve too fast. In his words, I don't do what I don't know. And when he says no, he means it in the deepest sense. It doesn't mean recognizing a brand or understanding a product's utility. It means knowing how that company makes money, what its competitive advantage is, how it defends that advantage, and whether that advantage will still exist in a decade. He passed on Intel, he passed on Oracle, he passed on Cisco, even when they dominated their markets. Because technology, unlike chewing gum or soda or insurance, shifts. Microsoft's business model, selling licenses, building operating systems, expanding into cloud computing, felt abstract, even foreign to him. He feared obsolescence, feared the next breakthrough that could wipe out an incumbent overnight. And so he stuck to his filter: clear over complex, predictable over promising, Coke over code. There was also a personal reason. Buffett worried that buying Microsoft would look like favoritism. As his friendship with Gates deepened, so did the scrutiny. When Gates joined Berkshire Hathaway's board in 2004, the spotlight intensified. If Buffett had bought Microsoft shares at that point, critics would have cried insider trading. Even if it were legal, even if it were logical, it might not have looked right. And Buffett has always cared more about integrity than perception. Even when Microsoft's valuation seemed attractive, even when the fundamentals lined up, he stepped back. The opportunity was real, but so was the conflict of interest. For Buffett, trust is currency, and he would never spend it cheaply. Yet, there was a moment when he almost caved. In the early 2000s, after the dot-com bubble had burst, Microsoft looked stronger than ever. The company had weathered the storm. Its balance sheet was rock solid. It had over $20 billion in cash. Its software was installed on nearly every computer on Earth. It had a massive moat, recurring revenue, and global dominance. It was in every sense a Buffett-style business. He even admitted as much. He called it a great company with fantastic economics. And still he held back. Why? Because of something he once said in a different context. It's not enough to be right. You have to be right in a way that won't ruin you if you're wrong. Buffett saw the temptation. He admired the fundamentals, but in the end, restraint won again.
Avoiding technology didn't sink him. In fact, it worked. Buffett never touched Amazon or Google in their early years. He missed the rocket ships of the internet era. But Berkshire Hathaway's value has still grown over 10,000% since 1965. That's not a typo, 10,000%. Because while others chased revolutions, Buffett bought what he understood. Coca-Cola, American Express, Moody's. These weren't sexy, but they were durable. He bet on habits, not headlines. He bet on cash flow, not code. And time rewarded him. He proved a powerful point. You don't need to catch every train. You just need to stay on the right one long enough.
But even with that track record, the Microsoft miss stung. Not because it ruined him, but because it felt personal. The curious thing is that Buffett eventually made a tech exception. In 2016, he took a huge position in Apple, a $36 billion investment that ballooned to over $100 billion in just a few years. Why Apple and not Microsoft? Because to Buffett, Apple was less a tech company than a consumer brand. He compared it to Gillette. Sticky ecosystem, loyal customers, repeat usage. He understood it. It made sense. People don't change phones every month, and when they do, most stick with the brand they know. That predictability, that familiarity felt Buffettian. But Microsoft had similar stickiness. It had cloud services, business subscriptions, enterprise lock-in, and yet he still stayed away. The difference wasn't logic, it was bias and proximity. Gates was still there. The past was still there. And sometimes, the hardest thing to see clearly is what's closest to us. Eventually, Buffett spoke about it publicly. He admitted that not investing in Microsoft was a mistake. An understandable one, he said, but still a big miss. Gates never pushed him, never asked, never hinted. Their friendship was always bigger than money.
And Buffett continued to praise Microsoft's evolution, especially under Satya Nadella. He admired the pivot to cloud, the renewed focus, the cultural shift. He admired from a distance, with the clarity of someone who knows he missed something, but is at peace with the reasons.
I was too close, he said once, too close to see it with the same eyes. And in that statement lies a profound truth. Even the best investors, the most rational minds, are still human. And sometimes, relationships cloud judgment more than numbers ever can. Still, the heart of Buffett's philosophy remains unshaken. We only need to be right a few times, he often says. One Coca-Cola can outweigh 10 missed Amazons. One C's candies can beat 100 flashy apps. Microsoft's myth didn't break him. It didn't ruin his legacy. If anything, it reinforced what makes him different. The power of no, the wisdom to walk away, the humility to admit error without losing confidence. Most investors chase the next big thing. Buffett chases the next understandable thing. And even when he misses big, his consistency carries him forward. But deep down, he knows this one hurt, not because of the money, but because of what could have been. There's a strange irony in how Berkshire Hathaway's portfolio has evolved. Today, the company holds stakes in fintech, cloud, and even artificial intelligence through investments in Snowflake, Nubank, and yes, even Amazon. Not directly by Buffett's hand, but by the lieutenants he chose, Todd Combs and Ted Weschler. They understand the tech world. They've expanded the company's reach, and Buffett has supported them because he knows succession is part of the game. And maybe, just maybe, he sees in them the ability to say yes to the things he always said no to. But even with this new horizon, Microsoft remains untouched. A ghost on the spreadsheet, a sacred what-if, as if Berkshire, in all its complexity, still has a line drawn in invisible ink. A reminder that not all fortunes are meant to be captured. Some are meant to teach. In the end, clarity wins. Buffett's edge was never his IQ or his access. It was his discipline, his willingness to say no, to wait, to let the pitch come to him. Microsoft, despite its brilliance, never felt noble enough to him. He could admire it, he could praise it, he could even call it a mistake, but he could not own it, and that's the lesson. In a world drunk on opportunity, Buffett shows us the power of selective silence, of walking past the buffet and only picking what you understand, of building wealth not through prediction, but through patience. That's not just an investment strategy. It's a life philosophy, and it's one we all can learn from. Because in this world, some trains don't circle back. And the ones that matter most are the ones you're ready for when they arrive. If you enjoyed this, I'll share more content like this. Thank you for watching.